Hey folks, if you saw my video earlier today, here's another one. It's 1 in the morning, and the last one I did was around midnight, so it was about an hour or so of editing and then changing and everything like that. So yeah, I'll be going to bed as soon as this is done. Um, Provided that YouTube will let me. It seems to be having some technical issues, probably because they're maintaining out the website. Oh, in any case, so today's Inktober prompt was dizzy. Now, there's a couple different ways one could have interpreted this particular prompt. Um, I the reason why I did this particular image is mostly because I was looking at other people's interpretations on Twitter, and I wasn't really finding anything that I thought was particularly interesting. A lot of it involves alcohol, some of it involves the Pokemon that's all dizzy. I just thought, well, eh, excuse me. Oh wow, that's that one in the morning work till you drop kind of feeling. Anyway, so the reason why I went with the funny one is mostly because I thought it was more interesting, and I didn't see anyone doing it at the time. So I thought I'd do like a boxer getting punched out, and if you've ever seen any of those any videos about like boxing ring knockouts, so some of those are almost freaky when you see how people behave. They act as if they're almost drunk, trying to stand up and just not capable of doing it. Now, I will admit I've been in a couple of fights in my time, mostly when I was a bit younger, because you do that when you're young. Um, this is I've never been knocked out like that. I look at these people just trying to look at these guys just trying to stand up and just fully incapable of doing it. And I don't know how that works out, but it does happen. You get a little, as they say, punch drunk. So I thought, well, that'd be an interesting interpretation. And then the goal was to try and interpret that. So I was going to do a guy spinning and all that. But I wanted something a little bit more dramatic, something more interesting for the viewer to look into. And I just thought like an action shot like this. But it also gave me an excuse to do a lot of motion blur lines. I do read a fair bit of manga in my day, and I've always wanted to do more motion blur stuff because most of the comics I tend to work on, they don't always have too much in the way of action. And I thought, well, this is a prime example to just cut loose and play. Excuse me again. Although I will say, a lot of what I do is digital. It's the great thing about doing it drawing my hands. I use these French curves, which is the angular rulers that you see me working with. I use those to make a lot of my action blurs, and they're tons of fun to work with. Tons of fun. And when I do digital, I work on my iPad. And I use an app called Procreate. It doesn't really have anything like that. Now, granted, I could just take the French curves, put it onto my tablet because I work on my iPad. I could just do it that way. Has never really worked out all that well. I find. And I think it's mostly because the stylus I use is just a big nub. I don't have like an Apple Pencil because Apple Pencil's like $70, which is like more because I could just buy a regular nub for 15. So like, why would I go with that? Granted, the nub wears out on that one, but yeah, it tends to work. But anyway, that's just price comparison. So this was interesting. I'm not as fond of how the background turned out because I use a lot of watercolor, a lot of the um, ink washes, if you will. But yeah, it was different. Mostly because I wanted to get like tones, but I was nervous, let's say, because I really wanted a gradient going to a pretty dark um, look, but then that would have taken me very much on the edge, and then I would have had to use because I would like to have like maybe light bulb flashes. I thought not to do that because I was gonna have like the light from the from above the ring light, if you will, to try and oh, what is that? Three yawn. That's three yawns. Yeah, it's 1 in the morning when you get three yawns. So yeah, I wanted to have that gradient feel, But I get nervous because when I get too dark, I lose some of the details, and I haven't really experimented that much with crowds. So yeah, personally, I felt I could have done better in that regard. But and maybe a little bit more on the motion blur thing. But there again, this is all stuff I've never done before, and it's in the spirit of Inktober. The whole drawing every day, doing something different. So this is definitely something a little bit more on the different side, and definitely something more on the experimental. But it was also fun because I finally got to do some things I haven't done before that I always have wanted to do. So it's in the list of things that are, you know, in my wheelhouse. Let's say in the place I want to go to. Well, that's it for now. I'll just let it play off with the rest of the little ink washes and let you guys see that. And I will end it here, and then I'll be off to bed. So yeah, now that I'm all caught up, I'll see you all tomorrow for another Inktober. Bye.